The government has announced a 2-week extension of lockdown in the country, but this extension comes in with various relaxations that the government is seeing. Well, what's coming in is that from starting May 4th, there will be an extension of lockdown for next 2 weeks, but with relaxations. Basically, the country is going to live a life in 3 zones starting May 4th, that is green zone, orange zone and red zone. Now, what is green zone? Green zone is basically the zone that has seen no cases in last 21 days, that is no positive COVID cases in last 21 days, and is recognized to be more of a safe zone, while red zone is the one that is seeing some kind of danger zone with existing cases or cases at doubling rate, and orange zone is the one that comes in between red and green zone. And well, government will be every week taking a report and updating on the zones and the category changes, and if there are change of zones from red to green, from orange to that of red, or from red to orange. Well, irrespective of all these zones, government has made it clear that certain activities are going to continue to be prohibited across the country, and that is going to be travel by air, by metro, any kind of hospitality with hotels, restaurants, cinema halls, gyms, sport complexes, social, political, cultural gatherings, or any kind of religious gathering. Well, now what will be allowed is of course going to be dependent on the zone that you are living in. Irrespective of that, patients who are above the age of 65 or pregnant ladies or children below 10 are advised to stay at home, and all medical emergencies, if any, will be provided in that particular zone. Now, let's go zone wise. Well, to start with, I must mention that there are a lot of relaxations that are given in all the 3 zones. With red zone, firstly, there will be no allowance of any activities as mentioned in any of the zones, which is travel by air and metro and etc. just mentioned. Well, besides these, auto rickshaws, cycle rickshaws, taxis, cabs, interstate transfer, barbers, salons is to be shut in the red zone. E-commerce is only to be permitted for essential goods. Personal car is allowed in red zone with 3 people, where 1 person is driver and 2 are passengers. If you're riding a 2-wheeler, only the rider is allowed, and there's no backseat person or a companion to be followed. And private offices can function in red zone with 33% strength. Electronic media, IT enabled services, data and call centers, cold storage, warehousing services, private security services are to be allowed in the red zone. Well, standalone shops are allowed in the red zone. Any shops or malls or shops in markets, irrespective of any zone, is of course not allowed. In orange zone, addition to the activities which are allowed in red zone, taxis and cabs are allowed. Interstate transport is allowed in orange zone, but with only permitted activities as per MHA. Now, green zone, all activities are permitted except of course the limited number of activities which are prohibited throughout the country. Buses can operate with up to 50% seating capacity, and bus depots can operate up to 50% capacity. Now, the good news is that liquor shops and pan shops are to be open, that is standalone shops and not shops in malls. That is standalone liquor shops and pan shops are allowed to open in all the 3 zones. Well, only 5 people are allowed to assemble at one go, and a 6 feet distance is allowed to be maintained while buying. This is of course what the MHA advisory states, and well, the situation will be taken on and observed on an everyday basis. India is of course going through a tough time with rising number of cases, but these relaxations come as somewhat happy news for the country to be able to at least adopt with the getting out of the full lockdown phase. Well, keeping in mind that as in when cases keep coming down, the government will also probably announce additional such restrictions, if any.